The observation deck of the Galactic Military Academy smelled like fear and polished metal. I pressed my sensory tendrils against the reinforced glass, watching the scene unfold 3 levels below with growing unease. Cadet Vex'thor stood in the center of the combat training arena, his scales shimmering with that iridescent purple that marked him as Retharian nobility. Around him, 5 of his cronies formed a loose circle. And in the middle, curled on the floor, was the human exchange student. His name was Marcus. Just Marcus. Humans had this strange habit of using simple, blunt names that carried no familial honors or territorial designations. It made them seem almost childlike to the rest of us. Almost. Get up, mammal. Vex'thor's voice echoed through the arena, dripping with contempt. His translator chip rendered every syllable with perfect clarity, though I wished it hadn't. Or are all humans this pathetic? Marcus groaned, one hand pressed against his ribs. Blood, that strange red substance humans carried instead of proper ichor, trickled from his nose. He tried to push himself up, arms shaking. Vex'thor's foot connected with his side before he could rise. The sound was sickening. Wet. Final. Stop, I whispered, though no one could hear me behind the soundproof barrier. My 3 hearts hammered in sequence, creating an irregular rhythm that spoke of distress in my species. The other cadets laughed. Karen, a Voltex female with mandibles that clicked in amusement. Thull and Brack, twin Corvasian brothers who moved in perfect synchronization. Yenna, whose species I could never remember but whose cruelty I would never forget. They circled closer, feeding off the violence like parasites. This is what Earth sends us. Vex'thor continued, circling the fallen human like a predator considering its prey. This is their finest warrior. No wonder they needed our help during the Krell invasion. No wonder they begged for admission to the academy. That was a lie. I had studied human history during my xenosociology electives. Earth had requested alliance, yes, but they had never begged. There was a difference that apparently eluded Vex'thor's limited intelligence. Marcus coughed, spattering more red onto the white training floor. Is that, he gasped, is that really your best kick? Because my grandmother hits harder, and she has been dead for 6 years. Silence fell across the arena like a heavy blanket. Then Vex'thor's scales flushed darker, turning nearly black with rage. You dare. His leg drew back, muscles coiling for what would certainly be a killing blow. Humans were fragile things, everyone knew that. Their bones snapped easily. Their organs ruptured under pressure that most species would shrug off. This kick would end Marcus. I should have looked away. I wanted to. But my eyes, all 4 of them, remained fixed on the scene. Vex'thor's foot began its forward arc. Then the door exploded. Not opened. Exploded. Metal shrieked as it was torn from reinforced hinges that were designed to withstand plasma bombardment. The entire section of wall, door included, sailed across the arena like a discus thrown by an angry god. It embedded itself into the opposite wall with a thunderous crash that shook the entire training complex. Through the smoke and settling dust, a figure emerged. She was small. Smaller than Marcus, which was saying something considering humans averaged a full head shorter than most Academy species. Her hair was pulled back in a tight configuration that humans called a ponytail, dark as the void between stars. Her skin carried that golden brown tone that spoke of Earth's equatorial regions. But it was her eyes that made my blood run cold. They were brown. Just brown. No swirling patterns, no bioluminescent markers, no indication of emotional state like proper sentient species possessed. Yet somehow, those simple brown eyes contained more threat than an entire battalion of Krell shock troops. Hi there, she said, her voice carrying a lightness that did not match the atmosphere. My name is Luna. Luna Reyes. And I think we need to have a conversation about Academy bullying policies. She smiled. Every predator instinct that evolution had burned into my species over 10 million years suddenly screamed the same message: run. Run now. Do not look back. Vex'thor, to his credit or perhaps his stupidity, did not run. Another human? He laughed, though it sounded forced. What are you going to do, mammal? Break down another door? The Academy will bill your primitive planet for the damage. Luna took one step forward. Just one. The temperature in the arena seemed to drop 15 degrees. Oh sweetie, she said, and that term of endearment somehow sounded like a death sentence. The door was just me being polite. Knocking, you know. But since you seem interested in demonstrations. She looked down at Marcus, who had managed to prop himself up on one elbow. You good down there, rookie? Marcus coughed again, but managed something that might have been a smile. Been better. Been worse. Remember Rio? Rio doesn't count. That was a Tuesday. What happened in Rio? What significance did that day of the week hold? I had so many questions. Luna's gaze swept across the 5 cadets who suddenly looked significantly less confident than they had 30 seconds ago. So here is how this works. Luna rolled her shoulders, and I heard several joints crack with sounds that should not have come from a living being. Here is how this works. You 5 have exactly 10 seconds to explain why I should not introduce your spinal columns to your nasal cavities. And before you say anything stupid, which I know is difficult for you, understand that I just ripped a blast door off its moorings with my bare hands. So choose your words carefully. Vex'thor stepped forward, puffing his chest scales in what his species considered an intimidation display. Poor fool. You cannot threaten Academy cadets. There are rules, human. Laws. The Galactic Council will hear about this. Luna tilted her head, considering. Rules. Right. Like the rules against 5-on-1 combat? Or the rules about assault of fellow cadets? Those rules? He is weak, Karen interjected, her mandibles clicking rapidly. A nervous tell, though she tried to hide it. This is military training. The weak must be culled. Culled. Luna repeated the word slowly, tasting it like poison. Interesting choice of phrasing. Tell me something, bug girl. Have you ever actually been in combat? Real combat, not this Academy playground nonsense? Karen's antenna flattened against her skull. That was definitely a fear response. I thought not. Luna crouched beside Marcus, checking his injuries with practiced efficiency. Her fingers moved across his ribs, gentle despite the casual violence she had demonstrated moments before. Cracked, not broken. Lucky. You need medical, but you will live. Always live, Marcus mumbled. Too stubborn to die. Family trait. Luna stood, and somehow she seemed taller than before, though that was biologically impossible. Now, where were we? Ah yes. Life lessons. She moved faster than my eyes could track. One moment she stood beside Marcus. The next, she had Vex'thor's arm twisted behind his back at an angle that made my sensory tendrils curl in sympathetic pain. Lesson 1, she said conversationally, as if she was not currently disabling the Academy's top-ranked combat student. Humans are persistence hunters. We do not have your scales, or her mandibles, or their synchronized nervous systems. What we have is the ability to keep going long after everyone else has quit. We are too stupid to know when we are beaten. Vex'thor struggled. His muscles, genetically engineered for strength by his ancestors, strained against her grip. She held him effortlessly. Lesson 2. We might be fragile, but fragile things learn to hit hard. You ever wonder why human martial arts focus on joint locks and pressure points? Because we figured out early that you do not need to be stronger if you understand leverage and anatomy. She released him with a shove that sent him stumbling forward. He spun, rage painting his scales in vivid crimson patterns. I will kill you. Lesson 3. Luna's voice dropped to something quiet and infinitely more dangerous. And this is the important one, so pay attention. Humans do not leave each other behind. Ever. Marcus down there? He is Academy, which makes him family. And you just kicked family. The air in the arena felt heavy, oppressive. I noticed that the other 4 cadets had slowly backed toward the exits. Smart. Survival instincts finally overriding pride. Vex'thor lunged, claws extended, moving with speed that had won him 17 consecutive arena victories. Luna sidestepped, grabbed his wrist mid-strike, and used his own momentum to flip him completely over. He crashed onto the training mat hard enough to crack the reinforced composite material. Stay down, she advised. I am trying really hard to follow those rules you mentioned. He did not stay down. Pride, I suppose, or stupidity. Possibly both. What followed was not a fight. Fights imply 2 participants engaging in combat. This was an education. Luna moved through forms and techniques I had never seen, each movement precise and economical. No wasted energy. No flourishes. Just brutal efficiency that spoke of years, perhaps decades, of training. Within 40 seconds, Vex'thor lay unconscious on the mat, his breathing shallow but steady. Luna had not broken a single bone. Had not drawn blood. But she had systematically shut down every attack, countered every technique, and made him look like a hatchling playing at war. She glanced at the remaining 4 cadets, who had frozen at the exits. Anyone else want to discuss philosophy? They ran. Actually ran. The twin Corvasians moved so fast they nearly merged into a single blur of panic and bad decisions. Luna sighed, helping Marcus to his feet with surprising gentleness. Can you walk? Yeah. Probably. Maybe. Good enough. She supported his weight easily, one arm around his waist. Then she looked up, directly at the observation deck. Directly at me. How did she know I was watching? Her lips moved, forming words I could not hear through the soundproof barrier. But I could read them easily enough. Tell them what you saw. Then she walked out, carrying Marcus toward the medical wing, leaving behind a destroyed door, an unconscious nobleman, and 4 witnesses who would probably never admit to running away. I stood there for a long moment, my 3 hearts finally slowing to normal rhythm. Around me, other observers began to murmur, their voices rising in shock and speculation. Tomorrow, I would file my report. I would tell them exactly what I saw. How a human female, barely reaching standard height requirements, had disabled 5 attackers and demolished Academy property without breaking a sweat. But tonight, I would access Earth's public databases. I would research this species that looked so fragile yet fought like demons. I would try to understand what made them so terrifying when cornered, so loyal to their own, so utterly relentless. And I would remember Luna Reyes, who taught us all a valuable lesson about underestimating humans. They might be soft. They might be small. But they were absolutely, positively, not weak. Friends, if you are enjoying our videos and want to watch new and exciting sci-fi and HFY stories every day, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to turn on the bell icon so you never miss any of our latest uploads. Like the video and share it with your friends as well, so our community can continue to grow and bring you even more amazing content.